So today, we're going to dive into a really powerful novel, one that asks us to look at the parts of America we usually just ignore. It's an incredible story about survival, about the families we end up choosing, and about finding mercy in the most startling places.
Right out of the gate, the book hits you with this question. It's basically challenging all of us to look past that quaint, postcard-perfect image of New England and to face a reality that's a whole lot more complex and, frankly, a lot more broken.
Okay, so to really get this story, we have to first understand the place where it all happens. East Gladness isn't just a setting. No, it's a living, breathing character in its own right, a place that's almost defined by what's missing.
Yeah, this is not your typical tourist brochure New England. The writing paints this picture of a landscape that's just haunted by loss. You've got a bridge over a brook that has no water, a town you only find by accidentally missing the place you were actually trying to go.
And listen to this, you get this beautiful, almost poetic description of decay. The author finds this strange, resilient kind of life that's just thriving in the town's neglect. You know, like little minnows making a home for themselves inside of a pothole.
And this right here, this really gets to the heart of the town's whole identity. See, the main town, Gladness, decided to rebrand itself as Millsap to honor some war hero and, chase a little prosperity. But East Gladness, that's the part that got left behind. Too proud, or maybe just too stubborn, to change its name.
So it's in this pretty bleak place that we meet our main character, a young guy named Hai. And when we meet him, he is at his absolute lowest point, standing right on the edge of everything.
And his age, 19, that's so crucial here. He's not really a kid anymore, but he's definitely not an adult yet. He's just caught in this incredibly vulnerable moment.
The novel uses this incredible phrase to just perfectly capture where he's at mentally. He's not at the beginning of a new chapter, he's at the darkest, most uncertain point of his entire youth.
And you have to ask, where is all this happening? Well, he's on a bridge that's both literally and, symbolically, the very last exit out of East Gladness. It's the point of no return. He just lets his backpack fall. And with that one little splash, his actual physical connection to his past is just gone. It's severed, and he's getting ready to follow it down into the dark water.
But just when you think it's all over, the story just yanks the wheel in a completely different direction. Something totally unexpected, almost surreal, happens that changes everything. Suddenly, this voice just slices through the rain. It's an elderly woman named Grazina, and her reaction is this perfect chaotic storm of shock, faith, and just a blunt, no-nonsense command to get the hell out of there and live. And then she does something I guarantee you would never expect. She introduces Hai to her own very unique brand of therapy, crushing bread rolls in the mud. She calls it her magic spell for whenever her soul starts going dim.
You see, this ritual, it's not just some random, weird thing. It's so much deeper than that. It's a direct response to a life of trauma. For someone who came from a place of scarcity and oppression, taking something precious like bread and just destroying it, what was once a sin becomes this incredibly powerful act of freedom. It's her way of taking back control.
So this totally bizarre night on the bridge, it pulls Hai back from the edge and throws him into this completely different world. The fluorescent-lit, grease-smelling universe of a fast food chicken place called Home Market.
And this is basically the first piece of advice he gets. The philosophy of his new life, courtesy of his cousin Sony right before his job interview. It's a pretty blunt, unsentimental way of looking at how you get by.
And what he finds there at Home Market is this incredible, makeshift, found family of other outcasts. Every single one of them is a survivor, with their own quirks, their own stories, and their own unique ways of coping with it all.
So yeah, this new life, it's a kind of salvation, right? But look at the numbers. It's a life lived right on the edge. The promise of a 10-cent raise in maybe 2 years? I mean, that says everything you need to know about the world he's just entered.
And all of this really brings us to the core idea of the whole novel. The strange, tough ways that life and human connection can somehow survive, even in the most broken-down places imaginable.
The book describes life at Home Market in this really visceral way. It's all about the senses. It's a world that's built not just on the work they do, but on the smells of grease and baby lotion and whiskey, and just the fact of sharing the same small space to survive.
And that, right there, is the absolute heart of this story.
It's about that profound, almost shocking discovery of grace, of mercy, in the very last place on earth you would ever expect to find it, right there in the middle of all the wreckage.
So let's leave you with this final thought from the novel, a really haunting question about how trauma and memory can start to blur the lines of what's even real. It makes you wonder, in a life that's all about just surviving, what's actually real, and what's just the story we have to tell ourselves to make it through to the next day?